Welcome inside the Volcanoes Stadium press box. I'm voice of Volcanoes Rob Schrier. Here to my right, Jake Straus and Brandon Chinn as well. Here to break down the 2014 Salem-Keizer Volcanoes roster. It's finally here. It's opening week, and now we get to take a look at who will be on the Volcanoes team here for 2014. A couple things right off the bat. We'll have 15 returning Volcanoes at some point in 2012 or in 2013. 4 of those are returning 2013 Northwest League All-Stars as well. So there's some caliber with these players as well. There will be 3 returning starting outfield. We'll close the segment highlighting some of those really tremendous players. And second-year manager Gary Davenport is going to have a tremendous group on his hands. Really excited to get out of Scottsdale and out of some of these other clubs that the Volcanoes players are now coming to here to Keizer, and really should have a solid year. So interesting about this crew is there are actually no 2014 MLB first-year player draftees. They'll most likely be here in the coming weeks, but this crew is really quite veteran, and it starts with the first-round pick from last year's draft, Christian Arroyo, shortstop out of high school, Hernando High School.
So yeah, people were pretty surprised when Christian Arroyo was picked 25th overall and the first pick for the San Francisco Giants in last year's first player draft. But the 6'1", 185-pound shortstop has not disappointed so far in his career in the Giants organization. Arroyo was MVP in the Arizona League last summer, leading the league in runs scored, RBIs, doubles, and slugging percentage. He also hit .326 and managed to hit 2 home runs. He's really developed into a player who can hit the ball into the gaps as well as hit the ball over the wall.
And so we look forward to seeing Christian Arroyo at the shortstop, maybe the second base position. He did play a little bit in this 2014 season with the Augusta Green Jackets in the Low A South Atlantic League. So he'll be coming back here for a rehab assignment, but it doesn't mean we'll have another opportunity to see Christian Arroyo out there as a #1 draft pick. It's a really special opportunity here for fans in the Salem-Keizer area. Now flipping over to the defensive side, the pitching staff's really interesting because there are a couple guys that are returning that maybe didn't expect to be back in this spot from a year ago, headlined by 9-game winner Drew Leanhouse last year, a lefty out of Franklin, Massachusetts.
Yeah, Rob, as you mentioned, Leanhouse finished last season with a Northwest League high 9 wins to his name and finished also with a 2.39 earned run average. He ended the year second on the team in innings pitched, also a workhorse for the starting rotation with 71 2/3 innings, trailing only Chris Johnson in the starting rotation. And he also featured a 53-14 strikeout to walk ratio, showing pretty dominant control of all of his pitches.
And he's one of the 4 returning 2013 Northwest League All-Stars. Another guy that's in the bullpen is Raimundo Montero. He had 14 saves, and he really came into his own after starting as a starting pitcher with the Volcanoes. Now in the bullpen, kind of a bulldog guy, and he's ready to get after it again this year.
Yeah, and Montero really developed himself into the door slammer for Salem-Keizer out of the bullpen last season. Finished with 14 saves, good enough for second in the Northwest League. He also featured a 1.82 earned run average and proved difficult to hit for opposing hitters with a 43-7 strikeout to walk ratio and an opposing batting average of just 183. So as you could kind of see from those numbers, it was a pretty difficult matchup when they had to step in the box against Montero.
There are even more guys from last year that are going to term really lethal weapons in the bullpen. One of those lethal lefties is going to be Steven Neff. He's 25 years old, a 41st round pick in the 2011 draft out of South Carolina. You're also going to see Cameron McVeigh back, and if there is a guy that's just going to gobble up innings, it's going to be McVeigh. Almost all, exclusively, his relief appearances last year were more than 3 outs.
Yeah, McVeigh really served as almost an anchor in the bullpen for the Volcanoes last season. He totaled 42 innings on the bump last year for the Volcanoes out of the bullpen. That's the most from any non-starter on the team. He also ranked highest with 48 strikeouts for any reliever. So he's going to eat up innings, and he's going to be very effective on the mound.
So the Volcanoes, at least from the pitching side, should be fine. Again, you got Leanhouse, you've got some great bullpen activity, although ultimately the Giants will dictate who's in starting role, who's in the closing role, who will move up and down. That's the really exciting thing about this team. We haven't even seen any of the 2014 draft picks. Couple of guys to note on the offensive end. Now the position players, the Volcanoes have 3 catchers that they'll bring back and 2 returning catchers, highlighted by Gino Escalante, another one of the 300 hitters from last year, another all-star returning to the Volcanoes. He actually saw time in Low A Augusta as a left fielder, so Escalante might turn into more of an athlete with this team. He might see some outfield time as well, because when you have 3 catchers, as the Volcanoes' initial roster does, Escalante might end up out there in the outfield as well. And Escalante is a guy that's got great power. He had a 46-game hitting streak at Mount Olive College. He was actually the only draft pick from last year's team on the initial roster. So he's really got a lot of games under his belt. Also, Leo Rojas, the Falcon Venezuela native, comes back after just torching the Northwest League in August last year. He was another catcher that had an above 300 average, 7 doubles, and a grand slam. Most of that came actually in his first 4 games with the Salem-Keizer Volcanoes. Then you flip into the infield alongside Christian Arroyo. A couple of names to note. Returning first baseman Jonathan Jones out of Canada will also be probably back at first base. He's a really younger guy. He's one of the younger faces on this Volcanoes roster. And then to highlight maybe a guy that takes over after Arroyo goes back and gravitates to Augusta will be Travius Relaford. He was the JUCO Defensive Player of the Year with Hines Community College in Georgia. And so Relaford has actually had experience last year in all 3 levels over Salem-Keizer. He spent the summer last year in Richmond, San Jose, and Augusta. So he has plenty of even AA and high A shortstop experience. He'll be along Arroyo in the infield, and that should be a really solid crew there for Gary Davenport as well. And then in the outfield, the Volcanoes might be their strongest unit at that point. 3 returning starting outfielders from last year: Tyler Hollick, Randy Ortiz, and Shiloh McCall as well. We'll start with the speedster in right field. Hollick was fantastic last year, top of the lineup, left-handed hitter, and he was hot right from the start.
Yeah, he was going crazy at the beginning of the season. Really, up towards the end, he was in the contention for the batting title.
Yeah, played 63 games in 2013 with the Salem-Keizer Volcanoes. Ended up scoring 47 runs for the offense and led the team with 20 stolen bases. So some of that speed you were talking about in the outfield on display also on the base paths.
And then he'll just have to look to his right to look to Randy Ortiz, the center fielder for the Volcanoes, who will return again. Speed guy that you could put either 1 or 9 in the lineup to turn it over as far as Gary Davenport's lineup card. He can bunt as well and really get on base, as well as Hollick, who really just does a traditional hitting way. But you've also got there on the left side of the outfield Shiloh McCall, who's more of the power bat of this group. And he had a number of doubles last year and will be a force wherever they put him.
Yeah, finished with a team high 20 doubles last year. And Rob, you talked a little bit about the versatility that this outfield unit has in the batting order with speed and power. And they're also going to have versatility on the defensive side. You have Hollick, and you have Ortiz, 2 speedsters in the outfield. And you also have Shiloh McCall, who's an athlete. And they're going to be able to do a nice job of chasing balls in the gap. It's going to be very tough for opposing hitters to have extra base hits against the Volcanoes.
So we've gone through the pitchers, the catchers, the infielders, and of course that strong outfield crew. It should be a good unit for the Volcanoes in 2014 with second-year manager Gary Davenport. Keep it locked here to Volcanoes TV for much more content. If you can't make it here to the ballpark, tune into AM 1490 KBZY for all your home and road Volcanoes radio coverage on AM 1490 KBZY, Salem's first choice. A reminder for opening weekend tickets, they are in limited availability right now, not only for opening night this Friday, June 13th, but also for the following 2 games, Saturday the 14th, and of course Father's Day there on June 15th. Volcanoes TV has your content for what you could do for Dad on Sunday. But if you want to get a seat, go ahead and call us at the Volcanoes box office at 503-390-2225 or always online at volcanosbaseball.com. That's a look at the 2014 roster. For Jake Straus and for Brandon Chinn, I'm Rob Schrier. This is Volcanoes TV.